Okay, dimensional analysis if it is a rate or if there's a unit in the numerator and the denominator. With rates. So velocities and speeds are rates, and there's lots of other kinds of rates. This is the first kind that we'll encounter. So let's say 37 inches per second. And you need to know what that is in kilometers per hour. It's a lot of the same tools as a normal dimensional analysis problem where there's just one unit, not a rate. You just do it twice, really. So 37 inches, and you can think about this as 37 going with the numerator and 1 going with the denominator. So 37 inches in 1 second. You have to pick. Do you want to do inches first, inches to kilometers, or do you want to do seconds to hours? It doesn't matter which one you start with. I'll do inches. We need to get to kilometers from inches, so I could go to feet, and then miles, and then kilometers. I could go straight to centimeters, and then meters, and then kilometers. Maybe I'll do that. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. And these are things that I would have to look up or be given in a table if I didn't know the conversion factors already. I'm in centimeters and need to get to kilometers. In a later video, I'll show you how to go straight from centimeters to kilometers. But for now, I'll assume we can't do that yet. And I know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So I'll do that. And I need to get to kilometers now. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. If you didn't remember those, there's an upcoming video on SI prefixes that will help. So I did kilometers. Inches are now in kilometers if I look back through and see if I canceled out. So inches cancel inches, centimeters cancel centimeters, meters cancel meters, and I'm left with kilometers. But there's another unit, seconds, on the bottom in the denominator. It needs to become hours. So I highly recommend that you just keep going in the same line. Seconds needs to be canceled, so it needs to go on the top. I need to get to hours, so I could go to minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. And then again, I need to cancel minutes, so 60 minutes is 1 hour. Now, this is a good example also for how to type it in the calculator because there's some numbers in the numerator and some numbers in the denominator instead of a bunch of ones all in the denominator or the numerator. Now I need to type it in the calculator. So I would start with 37 times 2.54 divided by 100. I did that because 2.54 was in this one, and the very next one it was divided by 100. The very next one is divided by 1,000, so I'm just going to hit divided by 1,000. The next one is 60, so times 60. And then the next one is another 60. If you're really nervous about how I'm typing this in, it might mean that you just don't trust the order of operations of multiplication and division. Like you don't actually believe that it's okay to do it like this and that it's not going to change the answer. It's not. I hit enter. It's 3.38. 3.38. What are we left with? I canceled. No, kilometers I'm good with. Seconds canceled, minutes canceled. So this is kilometers per hour. 37 inches in 1 second. That's like a yard per second. Kilometers per hour. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Let me show you, just to convince you, really, that 37 times 2.54. Oh, what's going on? There we go. 2.54 over 1 times 1 over 100 times 1/1000 times, it's so painful to type all of this, 60/1 times another 60/1. So many button presses to get the exact same number. So a rate dimensional analysis problem is really just two conversions in one that you just, once you finish the first unit, this one, and this one were all for the length on the top. You just keep going and make sure you've got the units arranged correctly to cancel out the second unit that's on the bottom, and then just keep going until you're done, and then you do all the math in one go, and your answer will be 3.38 kilometers. And if you want to interpret it as meaning 3.38 kilometers in 1 hour, that's what it means. If that is confusing for like which unit goes with 3.38, you could think about it like this. If you look at just the numerators of everything, and I don't recommend working the problem like this because it's so much slower, but if you look at just the numerators, it's 37 times 2.54 times 60 times 60. And let's get that number, 338,328. Again, please don't work it like this because there's so many more opportunities for you to mess something up. The bottom, 1 times 1 times 100. So we got 100 times 1,000. And those are the only numbers on the bottom. So that's 100,000. One way to interpret this fraction is it's saying that it's 338,328 kilometers in 100,000 hours. But that's a horrible way to report the answer. That doesn't help anyone. It would be a lot better if we just went ahead and did the division and thought about it as 3.38 kilometers in 1 hour. That's a lot more easy to visualize and digest and understand than keeping it like this.